everyone. Welcome to the lovely, lovely Monday stream of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel on YouTube. I am the aforementioned. It's going to be a long night. MrWarrenHayes. Hope you're all having a good time. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Hope you're having a good start to your week. I gotta tune off this phone here. There we go. No unprofessionalism allowed. Don't want this phone to start being a distraction here. It is so lovely to be starting off a new week, getting ready for another big week of professional wrestling discourse, of course. That rhymes. My hair is very... My hair's like, it looks like a wig tonight. It looks like it's perfectly in place. I don't like it. Should be a little messier. Should be a little, it's too much like, it's too contrived. It's like, that's usually what I have to deal with. There. Is that a little better? I don't know. Is this better? I don't know what's better anymore. Maybe it was better before. Maybe I should go get my hairbrush and groom. I don't know. We'll deal with it. We'll manage. Like we always do here. Yeah, weekend. Whee! Hope it was a lot of fun. I don't know why I did that. Hope it was a lot of fun for you, as it was for me, I guess. I had a pretty nice weekend. Of course, we had the big pay-per-view, the big full gear pay-per-view, of course, which I'll talk about to a degree. and what else? That was the highlight of my weekend. I guess I made some soup. It's like, made tortellini soup. And outside of that, like, it was pretty nice. It was a pretty nice weekend. Now around here, everything's gotten quite cold. There's already snow on the ground, which is somewhat unusual. It's a little early for the permanent snow to be already like on the ground and covering said ground. So, it's not an exciting time to go outside anymore. Juno's excited. Juno likes going outside when it's she likes the cold. She likes the cold, hates the heat, cannot stand the summer. Don't blame her. But when it comes to the cold weather, holy smokes, now she gets into it. Then she's really excited. So she, at the very least, find solace, folks, in the fact that my dog was really happy. My dog was really happy this weekend. It has been for a couple of weeks now that things have been all whatever. Right, Juno? She's all the way over there. She doesn't, but she's not going to come. She's not going to come while I'm streaming. She doesn't come when I'm streaming. She doesn't like the loud voice. She doesn't like the loud voice. So what else can you do? I mean, that's it, right? That's pretty much it. Like there's nothing really exciting happening outside of all of that. Nothing new, nothing to like fun to talk about. This is like boring stuff is boring, right? Oh, this week I'll be getting an award though. I'll be getting an award from my workplace for my 10 years of employment at my current place of work. So I think that's pretty exciting. 10 years. It's been a good 10 years. My 10 years actually happened during the pandemic, which is why I'm getting an award now. because we haven't had time to turn around and I guess, celebrate that. It'll be me and a couple of other people on top of that. I'm not alone in this boat. But that'll be fun. That's happening later this week. It's the reason why I have to screw around with the timeline for the Dynamite review this week. I think I'll be doing the Dynamite review immediately after Dynamite, which is not my favorite way to go about it, but I think it's the only way I'll get it in so that I'm not rushed or putting it off till Friday or stuff like that. I have the opportunity to do it on Wednesday evening so that I can be out at the usual time on Friday, which would mean in the meantime that members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel will get it way ahead of time, way in early access before everyone else. So, hey, that's a good thing, right? So that's what's happening with me this Wednesday. And that's the long and short of it. Haven't cracked out the Christmas decorations yet. I wanted to do that. I was planning on doing it this weekend, but my son had long birthday plans with his friend. One of his friends had their birthday this weekend, so they had all plans set up this weekend. And I was like, okay, well, so probably next weekend we might have some Yuletide decor here. Like, could this be any more mundane? It probably could. Like, it's not as if anything here is really exciting. Thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate it. I like where I work. I like it a lot. It's been very good to me, and I've clearly been good to them. I'm kind of fortunate that I'm in a spot where I can where I enjoy my work, where I love what I do, and I enjoy and I love the workplace where I am. So I'm fortunate on that level, because I know that's not everyone's case. But hey, Meggie O'Kenna, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. In a time of great darkness and despair, a group of sickos turn to one man to make sense of it all. That is Jacques Molière. Good old Jacques is always there for us. I agree. Thank you for being here. Also, Meggie just happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord. Discord, yes, as well, but more importantly, of the channel here. So thank you. Silver Apocalypse, nice to see you and welcome. Also a member of the channel. Thank you for the kind words on the review, the Full Gear review, which is currently available in early access, once again, for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. It'll be available in a couple of days for everyone else, but in the meantime, it is available and has been available for members of the channel since yesterday. Aren't they the lucky ones? And you can become a member too. Just hit the join button, show some support at the same time. You get the early access stuff. Hooray! DJ Convoy, it is great to see you. Welcome, brother. Discourse, more like this course. Good try. Don't quit your day job. He's also a member of the channel. And Carlos is here too. Nice to see you, Carlos. Welcome. Summer sucks in Florida. Yeah, it probably does. It's probably, I don't know. I don't know how, like, I understand how Floridians, why they go nuts sometimes, I guess. I understand why Floridians can go a little crazy sometimes. If it was always like that level of heat with the humidity, I would absolutely go nuts as well. I would absolutely lose my mind too. So I can't say I blame anyone. Congrats, Warren. I'm sure a delayed token of appreciation doesn't come close to the thanks you deserve. It'll be nice. Like, there's not a lot of us. The industry I work in has a lot of turnaround. So there's not a lot of us who are really like long-term employees. So we're like really like decades plus. There's really not a lot of us. There's probably like we're about 100 in the company and we're about 1/10 of the company, I'd say. And we're all gonna go meet up. We'll meet up as if it's like we're going to go celebrate. We're gonna go have a lovely meal at a great restaurant. We're gonna get a little prizes and hey, you know, maybe a little something too. Maybe a little something. You never know. Believe it or not, plenty of people love the high heat. I do believe it because around here people can't wait to go to Florida or Cuba or whatever, or the Dominican Republic or Mexico to just like escape the cold here. The thing is with Florida, it's kind of like here. It's like the humidity is so incredibly high, and that's what makes it unbearable. Like, let's say, like, okay, so a few years ago, I went to Spain, right? And Spain has this dry heat when you're really, really in Continental. Like, I'm not saying like when you're, you know, oceanside, but when you're really like deep in land, like, you know, and in Madrid, for instance, like the heat is a dry heat. So you're walking around, it's like 40 degrees Celsius and you're like, let's go. I can take more of this. You know, it gets, you know, with around here, you know, it'll be like 30 degrees Celsius, but with the humidity, you're just like being crushed. That's what I can't stand. That's the issue that I can't stand. I can deal with some heat, but you know what? Here I am someone who has always enjoyed the cooler climates, the colder climates. I'm not a guy who chases sunny destinations. In fact, they kind of turn me off. You know, I've had so many friends, you know, go further down south, like I said, during the winter, taking a break, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to. I'm excited. I get excited when the summer's coming to an end. I'm not jonesing to go recreate that for 2 weeks. And on top of that, pay to get all that heat, right? It's not just like hanging around, you know, you're doing your regular shit and then it happens outside. You know, no, you're paying a plane ride to go to the heat. Then you're paying a hotel to stay in the heat and so on and so forth. I got that's counterproductive to me. I'm not into that. But you know, you take me to places. You take me to the Scandinavian countries. You take me to Ireland. You take me to Iceland. That's the shit I can get behind. That I'm like, this is pretty fun. This is pretty fun. I enjoy that. But I think that spiritually, I need a change of seasons. Like I need the seasons to change as opposed to it always being like one thing. It'd probably be the same thing if I lived way too up north, you know, and it was basically like always, you know, fall and winter, right? I'd be like, nah, like this doesn't quite work either. I need a change of seasons. And as long as I can avoid a scorching summer, or at least keep it as short as possible, I'm okay with it. Summer here in Quebec is like, it's 2 months. It's 2 months in the year. I can put up with 2 months. I can put up with 2 months in the year of like blistering hot, you know, uncomfortable heat. It's 2 months. It's fine. There's zero humidity out here, and it rained for the first time in 8 months in LA. That's what you told us last time, right? And then the humidity kicks in, I guess, and then it's really not fun. That's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm assuming, right? Mr. Antox, it's nice to see you and welcome. What are we anxious about? I'm not anxious. Are you anxious? I'm not anxious. There's no anxiety. Like, I am not a bastion of anxiety here today. I'm not feeling it. There's a lot of people who are really fucking anxious. A lot of people who just completely lost their minds. Not me. That's a bold supposition, because that would assume that I had a mind to lose in the first place. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. There's no anxiety to be had here. We keep it grounded. We keep it real here. We keep it grounded and real. Yeah, you know what I did today? I recorded a guest spot for radio, like actual radio. For actual like radio, and I did this a couple of months ago. It's for a show over in Calgary. I'm a big get over for Calgary public broadcast, for the public airwaves in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I joined Ben Goodman for the show What's Your Niche? I'd been on there earlier this summer. I believe it was in June. It was before All In. And what did I talk about? I talked about pro wrestling. What else? So, a nice little segment that I recorded today and will be broadcast this Thursday on CJSM over in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So that's exciting. Did that today. Talk about Full Gear a little bit. Talked about Wrestle Kingdom. I'll be sure to link y'all so that when it happens on all the regular platforms, so that you can go punch up the numbers, so that the people at the CJSM can be like, this Warren Hayes fella, he's a draw, and that will also contribute to my Hall of Fame case. 2-1, fellas. Cole of the Lodger, nice to see you, man. Welcome. They're announcing the C2 blocks on not the day the tournament is supposed to start. Listen, man. Just wacky stuff. I mean, they didn't do it. I'll tell you one thing. Last year, they announced the blocks on the Sunday, the day after Full Gear. The first year, they did it like a couple of hours before Dynamite. That's we all recall that, and we all pointed and laughed, and that was warranted. And then last year they did it on the Sunday before Full Gear, and I was happy about that, because it was like, okay, well, now I've got some content, we've got some stuff to talk about, so on and so forth. And now this year they didn't do it on the Sunday. They're doing it today at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we're streaming extra long tonight, folks. We're streaming extra long. We're not just doing this and ending at the regular time. We're sticking around right up until the 10 o'clock hours, 7 Pacific, and we're gonna crunch through it. Live reactions. I think it's only being broadcast on Twitter, which sucks, but we'll figure it out. We'll be all right. Yeah, you'd think the sweet spot would be to announce it on the pay-per-view, but apparently I'm not a billionaire booker. I couldn't tell you, apparently. Well, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. Hikaru, nice to see you and welcome. How is the Brody beard growing out? Like I'm trying to will it into being it's doing better than I thought, quite frankly. And I know we've talked about this before. It's really hard to properly see the difference on camera. I find on this camera anyway. Like maybe if I had like one of these high powered 4K cameras, you could probably see all the details and like, oh yeah, Warren beard's not bad. But you know, it looks kind of sad, especially because of how dark, you know, the fuck do you call this again? Why am I drawing a blank? This thing. And all I have in my head is mullet, but no, it's not a mullet, Warren. You used to have a mullet. This is not a mullet. Well, when you just have... This part here is really dark, so it doesn't help like the rest to stand out, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I'll probably be shaving it down soon. I'd say. William Davis, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. William Davis is also a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Maybe they want to hold off until they assess the status of people on the pay-per-view before they say anything, but then just name alternates. I mean, first of all, nice beard, random 90s villain number 45. Thank you for being here and for being a member for 66 months, DJMC. I appreciate it. Yeah. See, like, here's what, like, okay. So I think Tony's very careful with his booking. This is one thing I think that we've learned, you know, especially when he starts talking about, you know, the women's tournaments and stuff like that. Like he's always saying, I want to make sure I have the right people in it. I want to make sure that no one is hurt, so on and so forth. And these are viable reasons, right? However, look, New Japan, every fucking year, they announce the entire field for the G1, and there's a bunch of dudes, and they just commit to it, and someone gets hurt, and then they figure something out to do with it. You know, they figure something out. It happened again this year. You know, Gabe Kidd got hurt. So what did they do? Well, forfeit, that's all. Or they could replace. You can do anything. I will buy that excuse only, and it's, I shouldn't call it an excuse. I will buy that reason up to a certain point, because there will be a point where I'm like, Tony, just fucking do it and who cares? Now, is it because Tony hangs out too much on Twitter and then Twitter people would get upset and start adding Tony and, making fun of him for all the people that are getting injured and all of that? Yeah, maybe. Then again, who cares? If there's, Tony's fatal flaw is that he's too much on Twitter. To anyone who's watching right now and can fucking get your hands on his phone, change his fucking passwords or something. He's too much on Twitter. He's just too much on Twitter. So that's it. That's just it. Just as simple as that. So, I mean, and I've posited the reasons as well as to why they don't promote it enough beforehand. And I think it all has to do with pay-per-view cycles, where Tony essentially is saying to himself, well, I have a pay-per-view to sell, and I'm not going to sell things. I'm not going to try selling things that are happening after the thing that I want to sell right now. And I will agree to that to a degree. Like, there would be no reason that he couldn't drip feed entrants as we go along. There's no reason why the Continental Classic had to be announced last Wednesday on Dynamite via lower thirds, Like, they really could have had like a nice little video package with highlights of the past two Continental Classics. Eddie Kingston winning, Okada winning. Yeah, like there was nothing keeping AEW from hyping it a little more, even if their what's the word I'm looking for? They're too careful. They're being too careful as to announce any people in the tournament. I don't know. Like, I think there's a happy middle. There's a happy middle that can exist that hasn't happened yet. And I thought last year was a good move, but I think we've regressed this year from having the full YouTube special on the Sunday, and now we're having a Twitter stream on Monday to announce it. It feels a little slapdash, folks. I'm not going to tell you. And look, it sucks that Kyle O'Reilly is probably not going to be in it, and it's a shame because he had the perfect story to go into it. That sucks. So that stinks, but you've got a roster of 120 people. You can, I'm saying 120, maybe it's, excuse me, maybe it's 105. You know, that's basically, you know, Kyle O'Reilly can't make it. It sucks. You can pull anyone else. You can pull anyone else. Copeland Corey. Sorry, I don't know why I stumbled over that. like some kind of weirdo. Like I just learned how to read today. How you doing, Copeland Corey? Welcome to the thing. Whatever it is we're doing here today. The answer to does Tony spend too much time on Twitter is always yes, regardless of context. That is correct. I personally like the selection show concept they are doing now. Like now? Not now. They're not doing it now. They're doing it later, right? But I mean, I think what you mean is what they're doing now. Yeah, no, I like the show. I'd like them to promote it. I like the idea of having a show where you sort of wrap, you bring everything together. If look, New Japan, what they do is they have the press conference. That's the kickoff. So if you're not going to do the press conference, which is fine, I think doing the reveal show is a good idea. But my point is you could just be hyping this more ahead of time. Don't get rid of the show. I like the idea of having this little event that will kick everything off. That's neat. That's fun. That's rad, as the kids say. That's peachy keen, right? But I just want them to do a better job making it feel bigger, better, faster, stronger. It's the C2, goddammit. It should be the North American G1, right? That's what it should be. Well, we'll break them. We'll just break their spirits. Anyway, thank you everyone for showing up this evening to the lovely stream we have prepared. I really didn't prepare much. Thankfully, outside of Full Gear and outside of the C2, there's really, the past few days have been very destitute as far as really juicy news. There's a couple of things, but I mean, wrestling world, we could be doing better here. We could be a little more gossipy. We could be doing more controversial things. We really could. Help a brother out here. Help a brother out. But I do want to thank everyone for being here. I appreciate your patronage here on this lovely Monday evening. I'm assuming it's lovely where you live right now. And hey, AEW1, nice to see you. Welcome. Thank you again for the kind words in regards to the Full Gear review. My Full Gear review, for those of you who are wondering, is available right now, but for members only. The members getting in early access. The review will be released over the next couple of days or so. But members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here on YouTube, they get early access to everything I pre-record, everything I put together that has some that is not live, essentially. They all get in early access. So if you want to hear my thoughts on Full Gear 2025, I will not be I will not be thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. I will not be reviewing Full Gear 2025 tonight because that's already done. It's in the can. I'm not going over the points. There might be stuff we talk about as we go along, but I'm not doing a review. The review's already in the can. It's available for members right now. So join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Show some support to this gray-haired loser, and what a pitch. And then enjoy early access to that. And you're going to get the AEW Dynamite review, the weekly review on top of that, and early access, much early access this week, I'd assume, and so on and so forth. So, there you go. That's the long and short of it. Yeah, as I said at the start of the stream before everyone started pouring in, I will probably be recording the Dynamite review immediately after Dynamite this Wednesday. So it will be available very early access, earlier than usual for members of the channel. Otherwise, it will appear at its usual time around 4 p.m. Eastern over here on the channel and on your favorite podcast application as well. The Mr. Warren Hayes Show as well will be back this Wednesday after taking a break last week. And that's pretty much it. Back with another stream on Thursday. Is that the long and short of it? I do believe so. Leave a like on the stream, you freaks. I appreciate that tremendously. It'd be really good if you did. Okay. And speaking of freaks,
how you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere.
That's right.
Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Hoo-yah! Hey, Patrick. Nice to see you, man. Member of the channel on top of that. It's good to see you. All right. Wrap it up, Jacques. Wrap it up, Jacques. Come on, Jacques. There you go. Good. Good pal. Good stuff. Quick parentheses. I'll start this up just for shits and giggles. Okay, for a very quick story here. Very quick. I start looking at for live feeds of live feeds for birds. Okay, and never mind that. The reasons are the reasons for looking for live feeds of birds is whatever. But I stumble across this the other day, and I'm scrolling this on the TV, and I start looking at this. It's basically someone who set up like a feeding station for the critters in their environment, and I swear to God, Juno just became completely enamored with it. She saw the raccoons and the armadillo, and there's possums running around too, and foxes, and she's like completely enamored. And she never really gets her attention grabbed by the television, right? Because dogs, right? But this here, oh man! And she was just standing there, and the raccoons start walking around, and then she gets really excited when they start moving. So that's why it showed up in my feed recommendation. She really she'd be losing her mind right now with all this movement here. The raccoons move, see, with all that there. She'd just be losing her mind. But she's not here to lose her mind. All right. So we are going to be talking about the Continental Classic. In fact, we're gonna stick around for as long as we need to get on board with the Continental Classic. We're gonna do a live reaction. We're gonna pull it up on screen here. It's gonna be it'll be a Twitter thing, and we'll pull it up on screen here, and we'll all react together. We'll get our, it'll be like a party. It'll be like a party, but that's that's happening at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, and I believe it is only available on Twitter, which leads me to believe that this is going to be very slapdash and very, very ordinary. Like, Tony's taken a liking to doing live streams on Twitter recently, and I'm not a fan because, first of all, Twitter, second of all, low effort. Look, and you're like, oh, look who's talking. You're right. However, I don't have millions of dollars in resources to provide a different type of live streaming experience. And if I did, you would be having a very different live streaming experience exposed before you. So it's, look, I'm going in with a lot of apprehension. I just want to see the names. I'm excited to see this. So yeah, Selection Monday, they're calling it. The Selection Special. Oh, it's also going to be on YouTube and Facebook. My contacts have just told me. That's good news. That's legitimately good news. That now I'm a little more into it. Armadillos and raccoons getting together. Hangman loses the title. It truly is the end of days. These raccoons and the possums, the raccoons, the armadillos, the foxes, they all just get along. Sometimes they fight over, sometimes it's like there's a pecking order and it's like, no, wait till I'm finished eating and then you can eat kind of thing. But they all get along. I showed this stream to Kristen. Kristen has a theory that they're all like, this is some kind of ranch and they were all raised together type of thing. I'm like, I don't think so. But then again, maybe. Whenever I leave the house, I put on a random video of animals like that for my dogs. See, like Juno doesn't really, typically she doesn't care. Like I tried doing like videos of other dogs because she loves meeting other dogs and playing. And I was like, this would probably be a good idea. She'd probably be really into it, but she really wasn't. She really wasn't. This thing here though, like in the night vision, she was super into it. Like there was one point where I was sort of like, don't jump through the screen now. You can't actually get after them. Don't break my TV. But yeah, Hangman Adam Page lost the title. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you've been hanging around social media. Hangman Page has lost the title. And since I am a doctor in the field of wrestling fan mental issues, I will declare that AEW anxiety is back, baby. It is 100% back. And what is AEW anxiety, Warren, exactly? Well, it's a condition, an anxious condition that occurs in AEW fans when things don't go precisely their way, and then they develop this intense feeling of dread and that everything is about to crash all around them, and AEW is doomed, essentially. It's something I thought that the fan base had learned to move on from, that they had grown out of once AEW had gotten its media deal, because that was truly in a very difficult time. It was a very, very difficult era, and I'm talking about the recent media deal, right? Not most, I don't want to say most, but there were a lot of AEW fans, very vocal, very present, who were extremely worried that AEW was not going to get a media deal, despite all signs pointing to them getting not only another media deal, but a better media deal that they had in the first place, despite all the compelling evidence and arguments and, analysis by people in the business and who observe the business as well. This advice was not heeded, and it created months upon months of unending nervousness, panic, anxiety. It was very, very heavy-handed, and then the deal came through, and then the next flare-up of AEW anxiety came, in the lead up to All In this year, in the situation regarding the AEW Men's World Championship with Hangman Adam Page being the challenger to Jon Moxley, and whether or not he was going to win the big one and get and earn his crown as the champion of the men's division in AEW. And that also was a very difficult time to go through, particularly for Hangman Adam Page fans. But it did blow, it did trickle down quite a bit, significantly, I would even say. And when Hangman won, I was like, I sat back and, through my typical analysis as a professional in this matter, I was like, oh, well, good. We will be devoid of any flare-ups for, I would assume, quite a while. I would assume for a while we'll be quite safe from any more exposure to AEW anxiety. And then AEW decides to take the belt off of Hangman Adam Page this weekend at Full Gear, and here we are once again with AEW fans stressed out, angry, sad, melancholy, pressed. They're going through the gamut, folks. They're going through the gamut from top to bottom. It is. I wouldn't say it's a pretty sight. It's not a pretty sight. I know. Look. Like I said, I don't want to dive into the review because many of you have watched the review in early access, and at the same time, I don't want to repeat that. I want to keep things fresh for people who haven't watched it as well. But the one part I think that I can reiterate when it comes to the review is the reaction to the Hangman stuff, which again I find is disproportionate. I don't think it's reasonable. I have a lot of trouble understanding why there's an entire section of the fan base that is really that upset. And so I tried to break things down in my mind and try to make sense of it, because if I can understand it, then I can help these people. I can guide these people through such dark times in their lives. It's definitely not to make fun of them. That'd be just mean. So, okay. I don't know how, which way to attack this, but, I think there's, there are a lot of hyperbolic statements, of course. Like anytime these types of situations happen, you are going to have people that are going to, say, oh, well, I'm going to stop watching AEW. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to, cancel HBO Max. I'm not watching this shit anymore, so on and so forth. And that's something that's very, very fascinating to me, because right now, with everything that happened at Full Gear, which was very, very eventful, and especially in the main event, which was wholly unexpected, threw everyone for a loop. I am I am very, very excited to watch Dynamite this week. I am very, very excited and curious to see what's going to happen. For the first time in quite a bit of time, like I wasn't even this excited for Blood and Guts. You know, I talked about my feelings about Blood and Guts going into it. The matches turned out to be great, but I wasn't excited about tuning in on that Wednesday to watch Blood and Guts. I was like, all right, it's Blood and Guts. Let's hopefully have some fun. And it turns out we had a lot of fun. Now I'm in this mode for Wednesday where I'm like, God damn, I hope they have something good. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with the FTR situation being champions. What are they gonna do with Brodito? And on top of that, what are they doing with Hangman Page and whatnot, right? And Hook and everything that happened. I want to see how all of this coalesces together. Kristen Ashley, by the way, hello, darling, and welcome to the chat. You are lovely and wonderful, and thank you for being here. Also, a member of the Mr. MrWarrenHayes Show channel. So being excited, looking forward to all of this, right? And isn't that how kind of you're supposed to feel after a pay-per-view or something? The pay-per-view is supposed to end with you slapping your hands together and going, holy shit, I can't wait for, the next show. I can't wait for Wednesday or Monday or, whatever. That's how you're supposed to feel. This is supposed to get you excited because look, they're trying something out. They're doing something. They're trying something out here by taking the belt off of Hangman and putting it back on Joe as a complete surprise. And I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. Because this is why sometimes, fans really do speak out of two corners of the same mouth. Because out of one corner, they'll say, well, it's the same thing you've been booking. It's the same feuds all summer. We're just recycling the same things. It's kind of getting stale. And then AEW goes and tries something. And then it's like, basically, no, not like that. Kind of thing. Like that. That's basically it. So that's the main argument. That's the main thing that I don't quite get. Look, I watch promotions or a promotion in specific, if we're being very specific, which is incredibly stale. And, I'll just name it. It's New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan these days, incredibly stale. And it's been stale for the better part of a couple of years. But this year has been particularly egregious. Been for a number of reasons. And it's not a New Japan takedown session that we're doing here right now. We're talking about Full Gear. I don't want to get into the details. Don't want to get too sidetracked. But it essentially all boils down. The reason why things are stale is that it all boils down to New Japan not trying anything new to sort of mix things up, right? Never, ever, ever. And so the product right now is just one note. It's kind of boring. It's super predictable. It's contrived. It doesn't feel exciting. You don't feel rewarded to be watching New Japan these days. So I know, trust me, I know what a stale promotion looks like these days. And I can only applaud AEW for trying stuff out, for doing, you know what? We're taking the titles off of Brodito. Yeah, you know what? We're stripping Hangman of the title and we're putting it on Samoa Joe. Oh, and by the way, Swerve Strickland's coming back and he's yoked to the gills and he looks like an action figure now. By the way, so I can't blame them. Now, the thing here, very, very quickly, because there's not much to say about it, the execution, the follow-up to this, the idea and the execution, that's what's going to make or break this title change from Full Gear. However this is followed up is going to be so crucial, and that's going to be the main sticking point. That's going to be the main sticking point moving forward. Will they be able to stick the landing, as they say? Or is it just going to be junk? That's going to be important. Dave Schneider, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I don't mind the shock title change, but I do think Hangman should win it back in a couple of weeks, beat MJF at World's End, and then start a major build to face Swerve at Revolution. But what if he doesn't? I'm not saying your idea is bad. Definitely not saying that. But what if that's not the path we're going down? What if Hangman doesn't get a sniff of the title until we get around to All In time again? What if that's more of the situation? Because look, Swerve is back, so that's something there. We've got Tony, I think it was at the post-match press conference, he said something to the effect of that Will Ospreay was going to be back sooner than everyone thought, or was it on Helwani? It doesn't matter. Just Tony last week, okay? We'll keep this simple. Tony last week said that Ospreay was going to be back earlier than people expected as well. So this is all good news because I think, AEW definitely is missing its top guys right now. So it's all good news. Now, is the title going to circulate around Hangman? That's the thing where I'm like, okay, I mean, if you're going to take it off of him and give it back to him in 3 weeks' time, what's the point? Like, that's hot potatoing. That's Attitude Era booking, and I'm not super into it. Not that he needs to have, a 12 years, a 12-year reign. That's not the idea either. But what is ultimately the point? To win it back, then so that he can face Swerve? It's like I'm not feeling it. I'm not. It's not grooving with me. It's not making my shoulders sway. I'm making my shoulders sway out of, just as an example. DPOW. Nice to see you and welcome. Shout out to all of the new faces tonight. It's nice to have you all here tonight. Given the death of heels and the plethora. Oh God, I love that word. I love plethora so much. Bravo. Points to you for using plethora. Given the dearth of heels and the plethora of faces, and dearth is also a very good. I'm appreciating the high level of literacy in this chatter right now. Given the dearth of heels and the plethora of faces, in AEW having the belt on a heel makes a lot of sense. I hope AEW can get over some more heels before they belt up Ospreay. This is a very good and reasonable way of approaching things, and it makes a lot of sense. To me, what was just put out here makes a ton of sense. I don't have an issue with that. I like Joe, but there isn't any opponents I'm excited to see him face. Would have been more interesting and Hobbs would have had the title. You're not interested in a Samoa Joe Swerve Strickland match? Because I kind of am. I'm really into that, actually. I'm super duper into that. That's something I can sink my teeth into. Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. If it's Joe versus Hangman versus Swerve versus MJF at World's End, I'll riot. Oh God, don't put that into the world. That kind of stinks. That's a worst case, right? Is this like an easy way to get the belt back on MJF? Because you know Max is on his way back. Max is inevitably on his way back. Shout out Max. Whatever he's done, whatever Hollywooding he's been doing, I mean, he's on his way back. I hope we're all cognizant of that. I don't man a rare hot potato. Joe's first recipe GM was very underwhelming. First recipe GM. What am I? GM. First recipe. You mean his first reign? Is that what was it? Joe's first reign was very underwhelming, but Joe's first reign was clearly transitional. That's like that was clearly the objective with it, and everyone knew it, and like everyone knew that's what it was for. It was very, very transparent on that end. Also, I like potatoes in general, preferably hot. I'd love to see MJF, an MJF promo where he burns the contract. First promo back. No, he's not. He's not going to burn the contract. It's all been settled, right? Tony versus not Tony versus, but Tony set up the contract thing for. He set up the contract thing for MJF to be able to declare it, but execute it, right? Wasn't that their terminology? Yuck. To execute it a week before the date, right? Like you can't just like spring it on someone. It has to be like the week before. Oh God, the more I'm thinking about it now, the more it is going to be a 4-way at World's End, just like last year, right? Just like Mox versus Orange versus Hangman versus Jay White. Oh Lord, that's what it's going to be, isn't it? Oh man. Oh no. Swerve versus Joe wasn't special the first time, but check out number 2. I don't know. You're not wrong. I mean, I'm not trying to. You're not wrong. I think the belt is going from Joe back to Hangman to MJF to Ospreay. MJF Ospreay at Wembley, huh? Sure. That makes sense to me. Yeah, Jag season booking for real. It's Jag season booking that's kicking in. I agree. We look. It's not as if we hadn't talked about this before. It's not as if this hasn't become a pattern over the past couple of years. Jag season booking this is what it looks like. And then when the Jags can't make it when the Jags can't make it, then suddenly the booking is going to become really, really nice, tight, and crisp. So basically, ultimately, like the fan reaction to this has been what it is. It's kind of always the same situation where it's like, their guy didn't win in the exact way that they had made up in their minds, and they're just not happy about it. And I'm kind of like, I don't mind like five months of what was it? It was like 5 months. Yeah, 4 or 5 months of a reign. I think that's fine. And I think Hangman had a good little reign here. I thought it was very compelling. I thought there was nothing but good stuff in Hangman's reign. And I pointed that out today. Talked about it, and okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of the kind of thing that that people are coping with, and they're saying that Hangman didn't get any. I saw one person in particular, a person who on Blue Sky, and I'm not going to shut them out. That's not the idea. Who typically positions themselves as someone who will, who'll go after. It's someone who does TikToks too. They do the TikTok stuff. They do the Blue Sky. They do the TikTok videos, and they like to position themselves as someone who goes after, WWE fans, the Fed fans, and they like to call them out, and they like to point out the discrepancies, and then they come and they brag about it on Blue Sky, and I was like, got some Fed fans angry today, tee-hee-hee kind of thing, and they can come after me and they can say what they want about me, but the fact is that I'm right, blah, blah, that kind of stuff, right? And this person today had a take where they essentially said that, because they've been coping really, really hard with the Hangman loss, and they said, Hangman hasn't had any good feuds, right? And some very reasonable responses occurred to this statement on Blue Sky, most of which I agreed with, because it had to do with, well, look, we disagree. We think that Hangman had a very good run, between defeating Moggs, which was a great story, and the MJF stuff, and then working with Kyle Fletcher, helping out in his elevation, doing that thing, and the Samoa Joe story has been very good. Like, people are kind of wondering, it's like, what's the big deal? What kind of story were you looking for? And there's a lot of times when people talk about stories, right? Talk about how the stories weren't good, or I kind of feel like they're wanting these 12-month epics. They want, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns level of storytelling. And you're like, no, we don't always need this. We don't always need that level of storytelling. And in fact, that should be more of an exception than a rule. That kind of stuff shouldn't happen all the time. And those are kind of the essence of the responses that person was getting. And they deactivated their account on Blue Sky because people were lobbying some fairly mild criticism to a highly debatable point, right? And some of the last posts that I saw before they deactivated their account had to do with them saying, I don't understand why everyone is here trying to change my mind. It's my opinion, and I'm not going to change it. And no one is trying to change your mind. Here we go. Look, little criticism sidebar here, right? If, as I like to talk about criticism once in a while, because I think we've lost the capacity. We've lost the capacity with the way people talk and debate, quote unquote, online. We've lost the capacity to really have proper critical exchanges. And when you submit an opinion online, engaging with that criticism is par for the course. That's part of the deal. It's part and parcel for the package. And especially if you are in a position where you're dealing out criticism, you have to be able to take some back as well. You have to be able to apply the same to apply the same logic to yourself. Like, if you're lobbing, I should say, not lobbying, if you're lobbing critiques at other people, well, there's an assumption that you'll be able to take it back. And the criticisms that are received should be dealt with in the same fashion. If you are just getting people calling you slurs and names and whatnot, well, that's not criticism. That's something else. It's bullying. It's harassment. Put whatever term you want on that. That's something else. But if people are arguing your point of view, well, you should respond in kind, because that's what proper criticism is about. Instead of just like disappearing and saying, it's my opinion and so on and so forth, and then I'm out of here. I'm like, I don't know. Like it's kind of not great, quite frankly. It's not the kind of thing that gets me excited, I guess. I find these types of reactions to be juvenile, quite frankly, and it's a fan reaction. And I have no real problem. If you're a fan and this is how you feel and whatnot, then you go right ahead and react the way you want. But then, a lot of the discourse then goes around these fans, and we lose sight of proper criticism and discussion, because then it becomes fan talk, and then that becomes loud because the fans are loud and the counter fans are louder, and it doesn't add anything. You're just being a fan, right? And I don't know. It's I think I agree. Like, it's a little self-centered to only want one way of communication, right? You should look. If you want to share your opinion, and not get any type of criticism, or I was gonna say blowback, but it's not even blowback. It's just criticism or discussion. Go to blogspot.com. Is that even still around? Start yourself a blog, turn comments off, and write to your heart's delight. Do that with a Substack. Or better yet, you get yourself a journal and pen and paper. That way you'll be sure no one comes after your opinions. But this is what I mean when I'm talking about AEW anxiety. Is there's this very vocal set of fans who have trouble dealing with things like this happening, instead of just seeing it as story development, character development. We're trying something else. We're going in a different direction. I'd be curious to see if these fans, as I described them, are the same type of fans who not that long ago were saying, man, it's always the same feuds and blah, blah, blah. The one thing that I will give when it comes to, the quality of Hangman's reign and whatnot, and because I thought they did a tremendous job, especially considering, who was injured and who was away. The only thing that I will concede that they could have done is maybe give us a defense against Kenny Omega. I've been talking on the reviews recently that I feel like Kenny is on the outside of everything that's happening in AEW these days. Despite that, he shows up, people pop huge for him. Everyone loves Kenny Omega. He's a guy who should be part of the fabric of the company, as opposed to feeling like he's on the side, like he's on the outskirts. He should be completely integrated. And a good way to welcome him back would have been to give him a title shot against Hangman. You got the history there and whatnot. That would have been a pay-per-view seller. I think that would have drawn legitimate money. But we don't know exactly how healthy Kenny is. And maybe one of the symptoms of his current health status is the reason he kind of feels on the outskirts of AEW these days. If that makes sense. If he, like I said in the review or in the preview, it feels like it feels like for the past couple of pay-per-views, he's just shoehorned into these matches as the third guy in matches that aren't even his feuds, that don't even concern him, right? And I know he has a thing with Josh Alexander. Don't get me wrong. It's fine for this one here. I'm saying how it feels, just the vibe of it. It feels like he's being shoehorned into this stuff. Even though there is a story, it still feels a little contrived. Feels like, oh, we have to get Kenny on the card. That point being said, I really feel like a Hangman Kenny main event for a pay-per-view could have been something to do, and that would have drawn and people would have been into, and you wouldn't have people deactivating their accounts on Blue Sky because they feel like Hangman didn't have quality stories or whatnot. Does this all make sense? And I will give that point. I will acquiesce and offer this as a counterbalance to what I'm saying. Where basically what I'm saying is everyone needs to fucking relax and calm the fuck down. Hangman is going to be fine. The company's going to be fine. Nothing is falling apart. This is actually interesting. I am interested in what's going to happen because I didn't know what was going to happen moving forward with Hangman, right? So this at least feels fresh. We're trying something out. We'll see if it works. Now it's all the ball's in their court, right? I can be excited for something, but then I can be disappointed down the road. But to counterbalance that, I'll be like, yeah, there is a missed opportunity, and it is Kenny Omega. If Kenny Omega was healthy and ready to go, why didn't we, if Kenny Omega was ready to go, why didn't we put Kenny front and center? I don't know, but it's been a weird few on that level. Let's check in with chat here. I like checking in with chat. Boris, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, I'm not into the four-way either. Doubla 321, welcome to the chat. Nice to see you and welcome again. Shout out to all the new faces tonight. Consider subscribing. We'd love to have you back. Stream a couple of nights a week. It's always like this. It's always me yelling into a microphone. Am I yelling? Am I talking too loud? Dad, am I all right? Am I getting carried away yet? I don't feel like I'm getting carried away. I know when I get carried away. I don't feel like I'm being carried away. I really enjoyed Hangman as a champion, but AEW ran out of dance partners, and it's better to take the belt off him before that becomes too obvious. Yes. Yes. And you can absolutely throw blame at AEW where it's like, well, why didn't they have anyone else ready to go? I agree. I agree with this statement. It's the same. I hold New Japan to the same standard as well. It's like, why aren't you building the new guys? Why aren't you building the Reiwa 3 or whoever else? Why are we still trying to book Naito into matches while Naito was still around and keeping him in the main event while he can barely go? And then he leaves the company. Everyone in New Japan is gone. Tanahashi's retiring for good in 5 weeks. Who you got? It's time now. You've got no one left. Naito's gone. Okada's gone. Ospreay's gone. Jay White is gone. They're all gone. Now I'm getting carried away. So it's the same thing here. You can absolutely make the argument, and I will agree with you. Who was next for Hangman? Why couldn't it have been Kenny? Why couldn't it have been Swerve? Why are we going down this path instead of just jumping to Hangman versus Swerve? What's like, that has me questioning. Why aren't we doing that? There's got to be a reason. That's why I want to see how this all comes together before, setting fire to it all. Anyway, double a 3-2-1. What I don't like is that we once again have to wait for Jay White Hangman. Sure, I like Jay White. This start and stop stuff, though. Man, he was never this injured in Japan. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. I don't want another. Excuse me. I don't want another ring where it gets run into the ground like with MJF. Let your stars leave before they burn out. Before they burn out goodwill. Ideally, completely fair. The new people are extremely balanced. I like you people. I like the new kids. Unfortunately, the phrase "let it play out" has lost all its meaning after such nonsense booking from a crazy old man. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Alexa Bliss. It's all her fault. I blame Alexa Bliss. A win over Lashley would have been good for Hangman. I agree. You don't. Yep. Anyway. There's reasons why that stuff isn't happening. There's just reasons for that stuff isn't happening. The Elite Reunion, again, the Bucks are better as bad guys. I am so disappointed that the Bucks are going to be baby facing it up again. That really does stink. But it's like I said in the review, and Chad, I want your vibe about this. Does this sort of kind of feel like we're setting up some kind of retirement tour, some kind of one last hurrah? I don't like the vibes around this Elite return. It's not. Goddamn, I hope I'm wrong. And I can only hope that a guy like Kenny Omega is made from different stock than I am. But Jesus Christ, like if I lose like 6 feet of colon, right? Something like that. It wasn't 6 feet, but if all I have is like a stub of intestine left within me, and my day job is getting thrown around by large muscular men, yeah, I'd probably be calling it quits sooner than later. But again, like I am not of that stock. Kenny Omega is and Warren Hayes. We are not cut from the same cloth at all. We're not even. It's not even the same type of fabric. It's not even the same type of material. Like I might be fabric, and he's like nano polyester Kevlar or whatever the fuck. Something you wear like in Black Ops 6 or whatever the fuck. Thank you, Chad, for telling me that I'm talking normal volumes. I appreciate it. Hangman had absolute career high matches leading to the title, and up until he lost it, absolutely legendary title run, far better than his first. Yeah, I don't know. And people are counting days, and I'm like, this legitimately was a better run. Like I think a lot of us were expecting, and myself, I was expecting this run to be his defining run. And look, maybe it is. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But then again, like I start back thinking, right? And I'm thinking of all of the great babyface champions, right? Have all like lost their titles a lot of times, right? Lose their titles in really screw jobby ways, right? Where it's this fucking sucks. Hogan didn't lose his title often, but he didn't really lose clean all that much either. But, Dusty, Sting. Hey, Sting, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Sting. This is something else that I brought up on the review. You know who Tony Khan's favorite wrestler is? Chad, do you remember? Do you remember who Tony Khan? He said it. He said it a couple of times in interviews. Do you know who his favorite wrestler is? It's the man they call Sting. The man they call Sting. You know how many long-term world championship runs Sting has had? Not very much. And yet, he was arguably the most popular guy of his territory. He was the top guy. The top babyface. You want to talk about we always use Dusty as a comparison, right? Where Dusty was always better in the chase and never as the champ. That's why Dusty's reigns are all short. But Sting barely had any reigns. And they were super short too. So I'm just saying. And then we were talking, well, there you go. Antox just brought it up in the chat. And because we were also talking about Steve Austin, right? 6-time WWE champion, 5-time as a babyface. And the only time he had a long reign was when he turned heel at WrestleMania X7 for 5 months, right? And this was in an era where the titles were hot potatoed. Now, do we remember Steve Austin for the great reigns or for Steve Austin? We remember Steve Austin. You see what I'm getting at? It's like the title's a prop, and ultimately it's the man that's going to matter in the moment. Right? That's ultimately what it boils down to. I don't know. It's a lot of people losing their minds over this, and it all just seems very normal to me. It all seems very normal. You remember the character in the matches, and that's the thing. Like, that's ultimate. Rock versus Stone Cold was, was for a championship, but it was a big deal because it was the two biggest wrestling stars on planet Earth at that time that were going to go head to head. And you could completely strip it of titles. It wouldn't matter. Can we be real? The best work of Hangman's career was without a belt anyway. I buy that. I will pick up what you are laying down right now. You know what? That's actually giving me an idea to write an article. That's a good analysis to bring forward. Hangman's best work was when he was completely unhinged. I think I concur. And this is coming from a guy, myself. What do I always say, chat? I always say, the Hangman can't have a bad match. He can't. I'm a big fan of the Hangman matches, but I agree. Probably Hangman's most memorable matches will all have happened without him being a world champion. A singles world champion, because probably his greatest match is the tag team match with Kenny versus the Bucks, right? That's probably Hangman's career highlight so far. That's the pinnacle. And then you can put some of the swerve. You can put some of the swerve matches to follow that up. Kenny was back on January 5th versus Gabe Kidd, and then came back to AEW on January 15th to face Brian Cage. Feels like he's been quiet quitting ever since. I hate to say it, but it kind of feels that way. It kind of feels that way. I couldn't tell you the difference between any of Triple H's title reigns who feuded with. What a great example. And, Is the door open to slander Triple H a little bit here? to go after our boy Paul Levesque? Is there anything we need to dress down? But look, joking aside, because for the new people, this is legitimately a bit here on the show, on the stream, where I like to poke holes in everything Paul Levesque related. But look, we say it more often than not. Paul Levesque cosplayed as a top guy his entire career, and he was just the right guy at the right place, dating the right person. Once Stone Cold and The Rock left, well, he just weaseled his way into where he is, and that's it. He just becomes all of his reigns and whatnot. It's all just one big gray blob, and you can pretend that no, he was this great champion. He had the great track record. He really didn't, and everyone points to the same great matches. He doesn't have this enormous catalog of great things. It's always the same stuff. It's a guy who's cosplayed being a top guy his entire career, playing politics backstage, acquiring the ire of his peers, which is why now, his peers are all like, they all look at him in disdain. And, now he gets to flex his muscle next to John Cena because, if it hadn't been for John Cena, he'd probably be the biggest star in the company. So now, he gets to decide John Cena's fate. So he's throwing his weight around. There's no bigger star in WWE right now than Triple H, right? When they have to do the big press events, they have to go on Jimmy Fallon, or they have to go to the ESPN launch. Oh, it's Triple H they send. They're not sending Roman. They're not sending Cody. They're not sending CM Punk. No, it's Triple H that's going, because there's no bigger star in WWE in 2025 than Paul Triple H Levesque, folks. This is a broken record, but it always feels very good to talk about. It's always the same thing with this guy. Look, I saw a video today of him, for Collider. I think they did a video where they took a tour of WWE headquarters, and the gimmick was, let's go see some memorabilia. Let's go see some of the WWE memorabilia they have, right? And they show a couple of things, but when it comes to Triple H, but specifically here, there's two things of Triple H's that they show in two entirely different segments, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, what's this? Oh, this is my sledgehammer. Like a fucking sledgehammer. A fucking sledgehammer. Nothing special about it. Just something that, they'd go pick up at the local Home Depot as the production trucks are riding into town. This is my sledgehammer. And so he shows that off, and then later on in the same video, then they start showing off his fucking skull masks that he wore at whatever WrestleMania entrance that he was doing and whatnot. One of these gaudy, over the top, undeserved, overproduced entrances. And I'm like, why the fuck are we seeing twice the amount of stuff of Paul Levesque, as if his memorabilia was all that interesting to begin with? And I can't even remember what skull mask was used where and when. It's so preposterous. It's preposterous. Oh. I really can't stand that man. I really, really can't stand that man. Anyway, yeah. AEW fans right now are going through it. They're going through it right now. At least, I don't want to say all of it. There's a certain segment of AEW fans that are really going through it right now. And my advice to them is calm down. Everything's fine. And the Hangman Adam Page is fine. And it's funny because if there's one guy, if there's two guys in this company that you should never, ever, ever worry about as to their spot in the company or whether or not they're going to be well used or not. If there are two guys in this company that you should never doubt that they're going to be fine, it's MJF and Hangman Adam Page. I don't know why people get so worried about the Hangman. I saw people saying he got buried. I'm like, no, this is not what a burial is. It doesn't even, a burial would not have the guy who was just buried being in the final shot of the pay-per-view looking angry and epic in the meantime. There's no reasoning with a lot of these people. They're just unhinged. So they're going through it, and we have to support them. Those of us who are well balanced, who don't have any issues themselves, right? We need to support our brethren right now who are going through it. Right up until they deactivate their Blue Sky accounts. Slam Hub Wrestling, nice to see you and welcome. Welcome to the chat. The John Cena final run heel turn was great at showing us while John Cena had never done a heel turn. True. I mean, there's a lot of things that Triple H does creatively that pisses me off because I don't want to give Vince any credit. Does that make sense? If Austin never gets hurt and Owen Hart doesn't die, Triple H takes a seat at the mid-card his entire career. If Steve Austin didn't get hurt, man, this landscape would be so different. It would be so different. A healthy older Steve Austin, Jesus Christ, would be something very, very different. Very, very different. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about something else. I got the docket set up here. Again, like not many things. I'm kind of thankful for the C2 special, which, by the way, if you're just dropping in, we are going to be watching it live all together later on when it broadcasts at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. So stick around. We're having a nice time. Aren't we having a nice little chat, nice little fireside chat here? There's no, the only fire out there is, amongst AEW fans. That's where the fire's at right now. But we're having a nice time. Stick around, leave a like on the stream, etc., etc. Fuck your mama. Nice to see you and welcome. You hate his booking so much that you almost wish Vince was back. Let's nuance this just a little bit. It's more like I'm in a position where I'm like, I gotta give Vince credit. There's things where I'm like, I gotta give Vince credit. Look, like a lot of the people that Paul Levesque brought back once he got in control. You know when Vince fired everyone, including Bray Wyatt, right? Remember that, the pandemic fires, right? And Dakota Kai and, and all these people. And then Triple H all starts bringing them back and everyone thinks he's some kind of genius, right? And then he ends up firing back most of them. The fucking Infinity Gauntlet meme. They're practically all gone. Bray Wyatt, of course, being an exception. Rest in peace. But, they're all practically gone at this point. And I can't help but wonder and think to myself, it's like, you know what? Maybe Vince was onto something. Maybe Vince understood something here. Vince put Karrion Kross in a fucking red Centurion outfit. You guys and gals remember, the non-binary pals, remember this? Do you remember we got to pull this up just for memory's sake. Karrion Kross Centurion. I'll probably pull it up, right? We've probably got something here. Yeah, look at this. Look at this shit here. Look at this fucking shit that they had for him. Why can't I do it? There we go. Look at this. Vince put this guy in this suit because he was like, Vince figured it. He saw it when no one else would. He's like, this dude's a dud. We got to find something for this guy because he's a zilch. And then then Vince gets rid of him. It's like there's nothing here. And Triple H brings him back. And then people get excited. And then it's save Karrion Kross. But he doesn't get saved because he's a zilch. He's such a zilch that Tony Khan, talking to Ariel Helwani last week, couldn't even put the guy over. Couldn't even say nice things about the guy. When Ariel was mysteriously out of nowhere trying to push Karrion Kross, trying to give Tony Khan the hard sell, telling him what? He was a slam dunk. Why aren't you hiring this guy? And Tony's like, Tony is essentially saying, I am not interested in this guy whatsoever. He said, oh, I haven't talked to him in a while, kind of thing. And he's trying to brush this off. And Helwani's like, no, I think he'd be great, a prime wrestler right for your company. And Tony's like, I haven't talked to him in a long time. And I'm like, no one wants this dude. No one wants him because he's a zilch. He's nothing. And hang on, I just thought of something. There was an article on the Observer site here. Tony Schimmel says he's no longer working for AEW. Oh my goodness. Something about contracts. New Japan contracts. Maybe if I just filter by, can you filter by New Japan? Wow, the filter's not working, or no one's tagging it properly, or New Japan news. Okay, we have New Japan news. This bit of, did you all read this bit of news? The news in and about itself is not super interesting. Basically, let's read the article. We'll just read through the article, but we'll get to the good part in a second. Maybe some of you have read it and know what the good part is. But Brian Rose, thank you for this article. Most New Japan contracts typically expire after 1 year, January through January. But some talent continue to talk to the promotion, and some contracts aren't signed until a few months later. But some in New Japan have told Fightful in a new report that their contracts extend past January of 2026, so contracts may not necessarily expire at the start of the year anymore moving forward. A lot of them is in February. The report also noted that free agents have spoken to Fightful. Here's the bit. The report also noted that free agents that had spoken to Fightful said they never heard back from the company when they expressed interest in working there. One person who was said to be, quote, a prominent American wrestler, unquote, said they were willing to work in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a discount, but never heard back from them. Folks, let's put our thinking caps on. Let's rub our chins. Who could possibly be talking to Fightful? This prominent American wrestler, this freelancer, this free agent. Who could it possibly be? And then he calls New Japan, and even New Japan is like, pass. I mean, we're assuming, we're having fun. I'm not saying that this is absolutely 100% confirmed Karrion Kross, but tell me if, I'll be damned if this doesn't sound exactly like something Karrion Kross related, right? That we know he talks to Sean. We know he talks to Sean. And who else would be calling New Japan to say, I want to work for you. And I mean, look, it's not even, look, and to be completely fair, I had heard that New Japan right now is in cost-cutting mode, and they are reducing the number of gaijin that they're going to be bringing in moving forward, right? They're going to use their contracted guys. They're going to use local talent from other promotions. They've been doing a lot of that, with Dragon Gate in particular, DDT. They're probably going to focus more on that rather than flying in people for tours. That's something that is likely not going to happen as often. So I'm not surprised if a prominent American wrestler gave the old office a call and said, hey, I could go in and I could work for half my rate, let's say. And they're like, no, thank you, sir, because New Japan doesn't have the money these days. So it's not even, we're having a giggle, but there are, we're having a giggle here, but clearly we could be, it could just be regular economic circumstances here. But nonetheless, maybe they said, hey, do you still have this thing? He says, no, I don't. That was never mine to begin with. It's not mine to negotiate with. Anyway, we're just having a little fun, okay? We're not. Don't put in the papers that I confirmed that Karrion Kross was trying to get into New Japan. That's not what we're doing. I have no information. I don't know. There's things that I hear about. I have not heard a single thing. But when I saw that today in that article, I just burst out laughing. It just seems so obvious. And why were we talking about Karrion Kross in the first place? Because Tony Khan was no-selling him because of Triple H. Yeah. This is all ultimately, this is all Triple H's fault. This is all Paul Levesque's fucking fault. That's the thing. Ultimately, that's the point I'm trying to make. If he could have decided to just hang on to the guy, but no, he released him back in the wild. It's all his fault. Ariel Helwani trying to get into Barry Bloom's racket. Yeah, but in the worst way possible. In the absolute worst way possible. He put Keith Lee in a skirt and called him Bearcat Lee. That's why I'm terrified. I can't sit around here and say, oh no, Vince did better than you can't. And Vince has like 4 decades of, good decisions. Like here's the thing. And if we're being completely objective, right? There is an era where Vince McMahon is a fantastic booker. Like there is an era where Vince McMahon is excellent at what he's doing, but I would argue that for the last 15 years, easily, not a little more, easily the last 15 years of his tenure before he got ousted, he was awful, just completely awful. That's like when he put Dusty in the polka dots. That's true. And give him a Nell Carter lookalike as his manager, but you're right. I do not understand the admittedly small number of AEW fans who want him being Karrion Kross, Killer Kross now. I don't understand either. I had heard once someone who had told me that Karrion Kross is a really nice guy and too much of a nice guy to make it in wrestling. Like really like too much of a nice guy to make it in wrestling. Because you got to have some edge. Not meant to be a pun. It's funny looking back at the media, that the media proclaimed Hunter as the savior of WWE 3 years ago, bringing back a majority of the people Vince cut, only to cut them again 3 years later. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I think Vince had figured it out. Vince saw it coming. I'd much rather see TK and AEW bring in Dakota Kai or some of the others over Cross. Yeah, I don't know. Look, all I'm going to say 2 words in regards to TK bringing in more WWE people that AEW folks might be excited about. Okay, I'm going to say 2 words. Nixon Newell. I heard New Japan's roster is full, but I heard All Japan is hiring. Look, these days, All Japan, they like their big, strong gaijin dudes. That's all I'm saying. Got to pay for that Warren Wolf contract for real, for real, for real. Cross says publicly he's making more now. I will say his merch does big numbers on pro wrestling teams. Good for him. Like, that's if he can have I don't want any I don't wish any ill will on the dude. If he can have a nice healthy career outside of WWE, good for him. If you ask me, do I want him in AEW? No, I don't. I don't understand what people see in the guy. I don't understand what people see in the guy. So you're telling me New Japan is broke, so it's not TK's fault their talent is trying to get an all elite graphic? Brother, don't get me started. Or get me started. That's up to you. It's your choice, chat. Either you get me started on the New Japan money situation and AEW relationship, or you don't. Late 90s and early 2000s and some of the 80s are VKM's best booking, I think. Yeah. Sure. That's a wide enough brush. Of course the new generation was complete dog shit. And he was lucky to stumble upon Steve Austin and Dwayne Johnson while still having access to Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Like, he was fucking lucky, okay? That's why I sort of shuddered to try and give Vince too much credit, because let's not forget, okay? Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he joined WWE, when Vince McMahon decided to hire this guy, he was hired as a silent heater for Ted DiBiase. And his role was, don't say anything. Can you imagine? Like, think about it. We're decades removed. And think about that Vince McMahon was like, pal, you're not going to say a word. You're going to be a silent killer. You say that to Stone Cold Steve Austin, who turns out to be one of the greatest promos in the history of the business. And then he books Rocky Maivia smiling, with the fucking tassels and the colors. And of course people turned, the fans turned on Rocky 3rd generation Maivia. Fuck. Didn't want that. These were Vince's great ideas. These were all Vince's grand ideas for these guys who ultimately ended up turning the business over its head and making him millions of dollars. He just lucked out. He just lucked out that Stone Cold, on the night he won the fucking King of the Ring, was given a little bit of mic time, and Stone Cold was like, you know what, buddy? Here I go. They're never going to want to leave a microphone out of my hand moving forward. What is the thing that Kevin Owens, every time he talks about meeting Steve Austin, the one piece of advice which is his hero, the piece of advice that he always says that Steve Austin told him, says, never stop talking. When they let you talk, never stop talking. That was his advice to Kevin, and Kevin Owens did the same thing to a different amount of success, but Kevin Owens has been successful in WWE. I think my dog is dreaming. She's yelping. Not sure you hear. Yeah. She's dreaming about chasing the raccoons that she sees on live stream. Anyway. You're trying to get me started. I mean, I think ultimately, I think this is how history is going to remember. This is how history is going to portray the relationship of AEW and New Japan. It's going to be a love-hate relationship, and it is a relationship that New Japan would have preferred never to have to deal with. Because they were trying to make inroads into the United States. They were trying to have a real foothold in North America, and they were doing better and better. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. But even before that, New Japan, AEW started, which at the time ended up taking a lot of New Japan fans from the West, from our neck of the woods, away from New Japan, because the stars that we wanted from there, which was that we enjoyed from there, the elite, basically, were all wrestling for this new organization. So New Japan has always had a kind of a little brother type of relationship with AEW, because AEW is like, we have the resources. We set up shop in North America. We took away a big part of your inroads in here, because the people who wanted an alternative to WWE turned to New Japan at the time, because that's pretty much all that you could turn to, but now could turn to AEW, which was on cable TV every Wednesday night, every Saturday night, every Friday night, in English with North American performers and so on and so forth. And I think that's how this relationship unfortunately turned out to be to cause some form of damage to AEW, but that's just the free market. AEW didn't blast in here and saying, we're going to destroy New Japan. Au contraire, they ended up establishing a working relationship. Now, the difference is that, New Japan, since the pandemic, has really been trying to find its footing, recapture the financial gains that it was starting to make previously. And it's really been difficult. And, people have been taking pay cuts and so on and so forth. There's a lot of, it's not all rosy over there in New Japan. And then you get to a point where you have a guy like Kazuchika Okada who's like, I want to go wrestle somewhere else. I want to go make big money somewhere else. I'm Kazuchika Okada. And then he gets the opportunity to go to AEW, and he does. Same thing with Will Ospreay. I mean, can you blame these people? Can you blame any of these people? Can you blame any of the people who will be jumping ship in February next year? Mark my words. Can you blame any of them? If New Japan right now is in cost-cutting mode, and when I say cost-cutting, they can go into contracts and say, well, you're going to start making a little less money. This happened to Tetsuya Naito a couple of times, and he was very vocal about not being happy about it, that he did it, but it's happened to him. If it happens to Tetsuya Naito, it can happen to anyone. So you see what I mean? But in the meantime, New Japan is not doing itself any favors by not building anyone to try and reinvigorate the product so that more people will get invested in the product, so more people will go pay money to see the shows live. So they're a product of their own inaction right now. And I don't think, I'm not blaming AEW. It's a free market. These wrestlers can decide to go get paid wherever they want. And all of this is fine. I don't have an issue with it. And think about this. Like, if there wasn't an AEW, here's the other thing. If there wasn't an AEW, and things went down the same way they did, I can promise you that Kazuchika Okada would be wrestling for World Wrestling Entertainment right now. He'd be employed by WWE. Does that make you feel better? You go, whew. A swerve stomp from a 250-pound Swerve Strickland is going to hit different. I cannot wait to see how he deals with this newfound poundage that he has. That sounded weird, right? But nonetheless, I'm very excited to see how all of this is going to work. New dream match: Rocky Maivia versus Shota Umino pre-2025. We could go back. If you look at early AEW shows, I'd say half the audience are wearing New Japan shirts. The Venn diagram back in the day had a lot of crossover. There was the Venn diagram in the middle. It was huge. Now, I don't think so. Now I think the Venn diagram between sports entertainment fans and AEW fans is much closer. I think AEW's partnership with CMLL has turned out to be better than the New Japan one. I think it's been more dynamic, but I think it's been more dynamic. I think if only because Mexico is closer than Tokyo or Hamamatsu or Bipu or Osaka or whatever. Mexico is much more accessible for us, for wrestlers in the United States. But I had some thoughts in regards to the trios match with the Sky Team versus the Don Callis family, and I don't know, pal. I don't know. Anyway. I don't want to sell the review. I don't want to give everything away from the review. The review is available right now. The full gear review is what I'm talking about. Is available right now for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel in early access, and will be available for everyone else in a couple of days or so. We can talk after that. See, Okada in WWE is scary? Correct. Yes, it is. The fact that Wrestle Dynasty isn't happening and no more North American shows is telling by New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is also true. Well, they're doing a New Japan show in America right in January. They announced it a couple of months ago, or a month ago or so, which I was shocked because I had heard that the Strong brand was going to be. They were going to pull the plug on that, and they were going to really reduce the number of American shows because there's tons of reasons. There's so many reasons. But yeah, the money is one of them. The logistics of setting up a show in North America and so on and so forth. But the thing is that, and this is something that not a lot of people realize, is that the New Japan guys who would come over to do Strong shows here in North America wouldn't get paid any extra. They're not getting paid extra to do it. They're not, they have to take a flight, deal with the jet lag, come over here and not get anything extra on the contract. Not get here's a little bonus. So that's why there weren't any. That's why these New Japan of America shows often lacked the big stars, because they were like, no, we're not going again to the US to wrestle in front of 1,500 people for no extra money. No, that we're not doing that. A lot of guys would just opt out. Yota Tsuji always gets really cranky when he has to come to North America for the shows. He gets cranky. So, it's like, it's it's the thing. Big Match Mystico was not taking that Rainmaker, indeed. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling. Nice to see you, man, and welcome. It's good to see you, brother. You're telling me you wouldn't have wanted Michael Cole to yell, "The rumors were true. It's the aura from the Orient." Oh, Lord. Oh, no. No. Oh, congratulations on getting your deviled eggs ready, darling. Good job. And I bet they are delicious. I bet they are fantastic. Light week of news so far. The past couple of days since last Thursday when we last streamed, very weak. Not a lot of stuff going on. But nonetheless, this is an interesting tidbit. Because this was all brought up very recently, and we're getting we're getting a denouement to all of this. AEW, this is off of WrestleNomics. Our boy Brandon Thurston, shout out Brandon, how you doing? AEW dropped bid to trademark Shockwave, ending dispute with NWA. AEW abandoned its attempt to trademark the name AEW Shockwave after the NWA challenged it more than a year ago. AEW filed to give up the name on November 13, according to records filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office that were reviewed by WrestleNomics. AEW's trademark application was originally filed on September 6. I don't know what that's on September 6, 2024. Wait a second. Okay, there we go. I lost my spot completely. Okay. AEW's trademark application was originally filed on September 6, 2024, leading to a dispute with the NWA, which had previously used the Shockwave name for its events. The two companies had been litigating the matter over the summer. AEW filed for abandonment a week and a half ago because AEW withdrew the application without the NWA's direct written consent. The Trademark Trial and Appeal Board entered judgment, which is standard procedure. The board entered a judgment on November 17 with prejudice, meaning AEW can pursue the trademark again in the future, effectively closing the case. The timing coincides with Khan's recent comments that he, quote, had a really nice talk, unquote, with Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins band leader behind the NWA. I'm probably not going to use it, the concept of the Shockwave name, in an interview with Ariel Helwani last Tuesday, November 18, one day after the judgment on the trademark was entered. He didn't mention the application had just been withdrawn and closed. Khan said he didn't know when he filed for the trademark and that the name had been used before by the NWA. He said that he told Corgan, quote, if that's something you want to do, use the Shockwave name, and you did it first, then you can do that, unquote. The resolution of the dispute also follows AEW's introduction of its new national title earlier this month, which publicly raised the ire of some NWA wrestlers. AEW's rollout of the title seemed to assume the title lineage was connected with the NWA's version of the national title, which is active and held by NWA wrestler Mike Mondo. One NWA wrestler suggested AEW's rollout of its own national title was retaliatory over the Shockwave dispute. That was Idol, not Austin Idol. Brian Idol, I want to say. In the Helwani interview, Khan said he also spoke with Corgan about the national title. I had a great talk with him about that, he said. Lots of things were great in that interview. Neither AEW nor the NWA responded to our inquiries, which included questions about whether there were any settlement discussions that led to AEW abandoning the trademark. So there you go. That's it. It's all done. It's finished. There's nothing else to report here. But it's funny because all of this came back to light. Because I remember when the NWA challenged the Shockwave thing, right? And it all resurfaced like 2 weeks ago, over the national title bullshit. When the NWA wrestlers, like it was pointed out in the article here, when the NWA wrestlers got really, really upset that the national titles lineage, that it was implied that the national titles lineage would include the NWA lineage, when in fact it will be two completely different belts, two completely different championships. And then it's like I can't remember, like Mike, it's not Mike Mondo, but I think it's Brian Idol, who really took offense to this and completely went off on Twitter, had somewhat of a crash out, which was fantastic, and added in there, it's like isn't this all interesting that this is happening while we're in court over the Shockwave trademark, right? And people are like, in court? This is in court? Why has this not come forward? And so on and so forth. So it turns out, after reading all of this, that he had misspoken, right? That it wasn't in court. Maybe that was his understanding, being, a lowly pro wrestler in the totem pole and probably not privy to all of the office finagling that happens, right? He probably saw all of this and was like, hey, you know what? Yeah, they're in court. Well, it's not really in court. There's nothing in court that's happening. It's just, the trademark office, whatever it's called, the trademark trial and appeal board that this ended up being covered by, right? So I can absolutely see Tony Khan calling up Billy Corgan and saying, brother, because he said he did call about the NWA national title lineage thing. It's like, I'm sorry for all of that. And maybe, look, again, we're just speculating. Maybe Billy Corgan was like, well, thank you for the apology regarding the national title and its lineage. I appreciate that. Thank you. But, the Shockwave trademark thing, do you think we could move away from that? And maybe it's Tony that offered that as an olive branch. It could go either way. Either Billy Corgan said, yeah, you know what? I'll forgive you and it'll be water under the bridge if you let go of the Shockwave trademark that you're applying for. Or Tony Khan outright said, look, as a token of my goodwill here, in regards to everything that happened with the national title stuff and how messy that got, I will relinquish my request for Shockwave. I could see both things happening in this circumstance. It kind of makes me, it kind of makes me laugh to think that it might be Billy Corgan who kind of like requested that as a make do, like, yeah, oh yeah, you're apologetic, and why not prove it? Prove it, pal. So yeah, and it's done. The AEW cannot pursue this trademark in the future as well. And yeah, I mean, look, the Shockwave name was kind of up in the air. It's like, we knew it was there. We knew there was the trademark application, but whatever it was supposed to be, which a lot of people thought was the rumored show on Fox, that's what a lot of folks were assuming. We were kind of thinking maybe that we were kind of thinking that maybe there was something still happening there, but clearly there isn't. Like, I think we agree, don't we agree, Chad, on this one, that this kind of nails the coffin on whatever deal AEW was exploring with Fox, if that was ever really a thing. Because, outside of reports and rumors, I don't think there was anything really concrete. They were probably just in, initial talks, calling up, like sending out emails and sending out feelers and having, off the record meetings with people and stuff. There was probably nothing really official happening, just testing out some waters. And Tony Khan was like, well, we're going to lock down this Shockwave one. But I think that's fair to say. Then again, look, I'm contradicting myself right here. About a week ago or whatever, 10 days ago, AEW had a bunch of other trademarks registered. So any one of those could still be the name of a new TV show that may or may not be on Fox. But I kind of feel like at this point, we would have heard something. We probably would have heard something if there was a move, if there was something being developed for Fox. I think we would have heard about something right now at this point. But ultimately, you know what my main takeaway from all this story is? From everything that happened here, you know what my main takeaway is? I'll tell you what it is. My main takeaway here is that Tony Khan has no fucking clue what's going on in the National Wrestling Alliance these days. That's been his argument for both the national title nonsense and the Shockwave trademark application. Oh, I didn't know there was a national title still active in NWA. I'm very sorry. Oh, I didn't know you used to run an event called Shockwave. I am very sorry. This is ultimately my takeaway. Tony Khan has no clue what's going on in the NWA. He probably doesn't even know who's hired. He probably doesn't even know who the world champion is now, because they finally announced it. They finally broadcast the match where the Thrillbilly, what's his name? Cyrus. But he finally won the championship off of Tom Latimer, and that match was like recorded this summer. Like he's been NWA World Champion, I think, since August, and they were kayfabing the whole thing until now, which is insane shit. They shot their Halloween special, right? And there's going to be stuff broadcast from their Halloween special like in February next year. Like it's an insane company when it comes to this kind of stuff. So there you go. Like ultimately that's my takeaway here. But it's always nice to hear that we have some resolution on some outstanding issues. Congratulations to all the parties involved. Oh, we still got a few minutes here before heading before the Continental Classic, before Bracket Monday, whatever the fuck they call it, before Bracket Monday starts or whatever it is. I think Tony just wanted to use that belt design that every wrestling territory used back then. What design? Like the design of the national title? Like the actual national title design is actually garbage. It's a horrible belt. But the national title that they revealed is exactly 100% the NWA TV title. Like it is a carbon copy. I kind of went, all right, sure. But it's legitimately the AEW national title looks exactly like the NWA television title. Just bonkers. If they want a new show name, just call it AEW Edge. Oh, there'll be one guy who'll be too happy about that. Do you think if Tony announces more belts after the National, that it may be time for an intervention? I mean, quite frankly, like I don't have a problem with the amount of I don't have a problem with the amount of titles that exist in AEW right now. I don't know what the. I know some people. Oh, another belt. What other belt? Like it. There really isn't all that many. Like there's 3 men's singles titles, 4 men's singles titles, 3 men's singles. No, 3 men's singles titles. No, the Continental. Yeah, 4 men's singles titles now. There's 2 women's singles. That's 6, and then the tag team. That's 2 sets of tag teams. So that's 8. That to me is perfectly reasonable for a roster of 100 people. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know why there's this narrative that's been established where there's all these titles in AEW and Tony is title crazy. Oh, and the trios titles. That's right. Apologize. 9 sets of titles. Like, you know, it's now if we want to talk about Ring of Honor, that's another that's another conversation we can have. You know. And I think it's really weird to have these types of conversations when WWE exists. That AEW has too many titles. Meanwhile, WWE exists. I think that's very curious. I don't quite get it. I don't know. Is it me? Is it just me? You know, maybe we have the impression like what? Okay, here's one thing we can criticize Tony on: confusion and mismanagement around his titles. that 100%. The All Atlantic title becoming the international title, then being merged with the Continental title to become the unified championship. Sorry, completely spaced out on that one. See, that was weird. That's a weird path. And now we're recreating the international title. Like it's the same idea behind it, except now it's called the national title. Like that's wibbly wobbly. And that I think that's super fair to criticize AEW for that. But for the amount of titles, I don't know. 9 titles seems absolutely fair to me. You have a couple of, you have your world championship. You have 3 levels of mid-card titles, which I think is super fair. Like you have your really, upper card, upper tier, upper mid-card is what I'm trying to say. Title with the unified one. You have your mid-card title, and one of them is going to be really mid-card. The other one's going to be lower mid-card, depending on where you sit. TNT title, national. It'll be. We'll see how that plays out. You have your tag teams. You have your trios. That's fine. I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. It's strange. I like the international title a lot. And I think, that what I thought sucked ultimately is, like you said, Silver Apocalypse, that Orange Cassidy worked so hard under that title to just have it like be merged with another one. It's like, all right, it actually started being meaningful under Orange and his great run, his legitimately legendary great run with the title. I don't know. We've got 10 minutes to go. Should we open up this can of worms here? the ESPN 30 under 30 for 2025. I don't know. Like I said, it's been such a weird week. I wouldn't be talking about this under any circumstance. This was released today, November 24, the third installment of the 30 under 30. For the second year in a row, Dominic Mysterio is at the top, followed by Kyle Fletcher at number 2, Rhea Ripley at number 3, MJF number 4, Tiffany Stratton number 5. Number 10 is Braun Breaker. Number 7, Blake Monroe. That's right. Number 7 is Blake Monroe. Number 8 is Obafemi. That's right. Number 8, Obafemi. Number 9, Roxanne Perez. Correct. You heard that right. And number 10, Leon Slater. I've got so little thought. Look, like the real wrestlers who should be, the real people who should be very high on this list are not, okay? And also, Kaito Kiyomiya, number 13. He's the only Noah guy on the roster, and the only one of 2 guys from Japan, all right? Which is actually right now full of young under 30 dudes who are tremendous workers. But we're going to go with Kaito Kiyomiya, who is 29 and who is having, observably, a shit year. He's not having a good year. And you're going to put Kaito Kiyomiya, but you're not going to put Ozawa. But of course, this is ESPN. They're not watching this shit. Look at it. Promotion. Noah/New Japan Pro Wrestling. No. No. Here's something else. Sari at 16, bonkers. That's just nuts. Saya Kamitani at fucking 17. Insane. She is a top 3. She is a top 3 positioning without a shadow of a fucking doubt. She is one of the only legitimate draws in pro wrestling today. This is bonkers. Saya Kamitani, Stardom New Japan. No. This is her promotion. New Japan does not have a women's division. It has a title, don't get me wrong. Look at this fucking shit. Mascara Dorada 2.0. When is the last fucking time that we have called this incarnation of Mascara Dorada 2.0? He started off like that to make sure that everyone understood that it's not the same. It's not the Grand Metalik guy anymore. It's the new Mascara Dorada. Like, I mean, if you wanted any more proof that this was a bozo list of people who don't watch this, who don't watch any of this, and I had a good chuckle here. He's very athletic and can perform in just about any match, as demonstrated by his singles bout against Neon at CMLL Super Viernes. I'm like, which one? It's like, his match with Neon? Yes. Go on. It's like, Or his exceptional performance in the 20-man tag elimination at the CMLL Grand Prix. Yeah, did you? But they didn't watch it, right? Like they really didn't watch it. There was no way they watched this. And like, come on, Daniel Garcia's had a shit. And I love Daniel Garcia, but he has had a shit year. Hook at 23. What are we doing here? Kevin Knight, Axiom, Kalani Jordan. What are we doing? What is this? And Shota's the only guy from fucking New Japan. Shota is the only guy. Atlantis Jr. is fine. It's like, anyway, look, on serious list. I will say, though, here's a little peek behind the curtain. When ESPN put out their first 30 under 30, that lit a fire under all of us in Voices of Wrestling to be like, you know what? We can do a better 30 under 30 than this bullshit. And that's why we started our 30 under 30, because ESPN did theirs. We were like, no, this stinks. This list is no good. We can do better. And we did ours, and our lists are indeed better. Our lists are 100% better. But ours will be out next year. Not releasing that anytime soon, but it did light a fire under a couple of guys. It's like, oh shit, should we release it early? But no, we already released it for 2025. So we not, but it did lit a fire. It did light a fire under a couple of us. We're like, this is such bullshit. Who the hell thinks Dominic Mysterio is like the future of the business? He's just crazy stuff. Just absolutely bonkers stuff. Like, these people don't know what. The minute that you step away from WWE, and TNA now, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea. No clue. Why, how do you reasonably put Kyle Fletcher behind Dominic Mysterio with the year that this dude just had? How do you put him behind this Punk? This guy's gimmick is my dad is Eddie Guerrero. Like, that's his gimmick. My dad is Eddie Guerrero. That's his thing. That was my mini rant. just to fill up some time here. Kaito Kiyomiya, no Ozawa, no Mao, no Ueno, no SLK is on the list, to be fair. But they don't know who Yuki Ueno is. They have no idea who he is. They call him Mascara Dorado 2.0 still, which is goofy behavior. It's just fucking goofy. Mariah May over Saya, insane. I'm telling you, insane. Dominic seems to be a bigger deal in these AAA shows. Sure, from what I hear, he's the perfect heel for AAA. I don't know. I don't watch it. I hadn't been watching it before, and I'm definitely not going to start yet. I said before, when PWI 250 Fed heads were were like the Amish seeing New York City for the first time. It is what it is. It's just at some point, Anyway, it's fine. It's a fine list for fans of World Wrestling Entertainment. I'm sure they're all excited about it. For wrestling fans, well, no, it's kind of trash. It's very trash, actually. All right, so apparently we can go on YouTube to watch the Continental Classic. We've got it all queued up here. So why don't I take that and move it over to the streaming space here, and we'll just let that the selection. We will wait for the selection special to begin. Oh, Jesus Christ, motherfucker! Man, it started here, but not there. What's going on? There we go. Christ. That caught me by surprise. It's a little loud, right, folks? Could maybe lower it a bit. All right. I'm gonna close the chat just in case some things from the other chat boil over here and get me suspended. So all right, here we go, folks. We're going straight in. Continental Classic Selection Show 2025, the C2. There. We're going to be carried around by Tony Scavone. Good to see you, Tony.
Once again upon us, this year the field is as stacked as it's ever been with AEW's top wrestlers. But before we reveal all of the amazing competitors,
Yeah.
let's take a look at how it all came to a conclusion at World's End last year when we crowned the greatest tournament wrestler of all time and current reigning Continental Champion, and of course, the unified champion, Kazuchika Okada.
Are we going to watch the match? No. They're just going to do a recap, right? What a great match. What a fantastic match this was.
This is exactly what becoming the Continental Champion is all about. Pushing yourself to the limit.
Just absolutely phenomenal stuff. I love this match so much. This was the match, I think, like, there was a whole, you remember this crowd of people who would say, oh, Okada's washed, Okada's washed. Remember all of this? And then he pulls this one out. The Masahiro Chono thing is funny, though. Like, yeah, we're stretching a little bit, but all right. All right.
AEW's premier annual tournament. 2 round-robin tournaments consisting of 2 fields. The Gold League and the Blue League.
All right. Yes.
Participants in each league compete for points. The points leader in each league challenging each other.
Tony Schiavone does look good.
Continental champion.
He looks good, and I'll tell you why he looks good. Because a lot of people say I look like Tony Schiavone. So there you go.
Gets 3 points for a win.
I think it goes both ways. I agree.
If anyone breaks that rule, they're banned from AEW. It's a rule that's never been broken in any of the 2 previous years due to the severity of the consequences.
And it shouldn't be. We should have.
The league finals as well as the tournament finals will once again
Is Okada going to break Chono's record this year? I read Kronos. I was like, hang on a second. No, I don't think he's winning this year.
Arena. It'll be Saturday, December 26th.
I don't think Kazuchika Okada is winning. Let's see. Let's take a look at how all of this is going to be set up here. How these leagues are going to look like.
Saturday in Newark, New Jersey. And coming out of that,
Newark, New Jersey.
very explosive words from the Don Callis family.
All right, we're really stretching this out here. We're really stretching this out. I need a pen.
Well, if you mean having an extra Cesaro's in charge of the money tonight,
I don't know if I'd put Hechicero in charge of the money. I think that's a poor choice of that's some risky business. I'm not sure I would have done that personally. That match.
We don't need to blame each other. Let's not blame Okada for this. This wasn't the problem. Okay, here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
He's got to defend his Continental Championship in the Continental Classic.
That's right.
Show everyone, aren't you? Why he's
All right.
the tournament wrestler of all time. Okay.
Poor Lexi, she sees Callis more than most people. Hey, maybe that's a request he puts in. It's like it's Lexi or no one, right?
This is great news because the Don Callis family, the more the merrier. The more people we have in the Continental Classic, the better chance we have to win it.
Hey, what the hell was that all about, huh?
What the hell was that all about? Huh? Great line.
Cheeto, you guys both say you're my best friend. You're supposed to be my family. Where were you when I really needed you? Now I lost my title. But that's okay.
That's a legitimate gripe, though. I'm completely okay with with Kyle Fletcher bitching that his family of heels, no one came out to stick up for him during the match.
What you did to Kyle, this is all your fault.
I can't wait for Takeshita to kick his ass. It's really well, like this is being really well built, folks.
Within the Don Callis family, and we now have our first participants for the 2025 Continental Classic.
All right, now what leagues are they in? That's the question.
Each have declared themselves for the Continental Classic, competing against family member and defending champion Kazuchika Okada.
All right.
He's the longest reigning men's champion in AEW history. He'll be defending, of course, that title in the tournament.
All right.
Let's take a look at where those three and the rest of our competitors will fall.
Excellent. This is what we want. We're hype. Let's go. Let's go.
Entering his second Continental Classic tournament,
Oh, Darby's going to be in it again. All right.
finished last year's round robin stage with a record of 2-2-1, earning 7 points.
Interesting.
Had an impressive win, an incredible
I wasn't expecting Darby to be back in the... I wouldn't have put him in. Like, my gut was just like, interesting. I don't know if I would have put him back in. Interesting. All right.
rival since making his shocking return at all.
This is Pac's first Continental Classic. I think this is a great choice. This is an excellent choice.
Indeed, as part of the Gold League, we will see more of that same brutality. Pac is entering in his very first Continental Classic.
This is good stuff. All right, Kevin Knight.
Tonight has appeared in AEW's Owen Hart tournament, but the Continental Classic.
That's good. I think Kevin Knight is going to be in a pin eater position here. I think that's what he's going to be in. He's going to have a losing record. That's fine. Oh shit!
Continental Classic appearance, Speedball Mike Bailey will have to contend with his tag team partner.
So we are going to have Kevin Knight versus Speedball. All right. You know what? This is a nice little field so far.
Coming off full
Pac versus Speedball.
the Casino Gauntlet to crown the
This is not. Hey, this is a nice little field so far. I'm enjoying the Gold League. We got some good stuff on tap here.
endurance will he be able to display in this year's Continental Classic?
Hey, Spencer, how you doing, brother? All right, Kyle Fletcher is going to be in the Gold League. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 guys so far. So they're leagues of 6, right? So there's one more guy. So it's either going to be Okada or Takeshita, right? Probably. They're not going to put Okada and Takeshita in the same block, are they?
Lost his TNT championship to Mark Briscoe. Fletcher needs to have a very short memory and shift his focus now to becoming Continental Champion.
And all right, so then we got Okada here. All right. So Okada versus this is a fucking good field. This is a really, really solid field.
Continental Championship.
Speedball, Pac, Kyle Fletcher, Okada. Holy balls.
Last year's round robin stage with an impressive 10 points. Okada
I mean, Kevin Knight's going to be great too, but there's S tier wrestlers in this list here.
same night at World's End. The greatest
This is a fucking solid league.
with the inclusion of 2 of his fellow Don Callis family members.
Hey, slave to the system, welcome to the chat. Gold League is pretty insane. Come on, Jay Lethal. Come
In order to do it. With that in mind, here's this year's participants in the Blue League.
All right. So
Great tournament performances. Takeshita enters his very first
Takeshita is in here.
the massive feat of
We got Soup already in the first. We got him out of the way.
to win the IWGP World
So nothing but surprises now moving forward.
Boiled in tension with fellow Don Callis family member Kazuchika Okada over the past several weeks. Of course, that boiled over full gear this past weekend. In order to
And there we go. Get down.
World's End, we'll have to make it through a very stacked Blue League.
All right. A very stacked Blue League. Let's see how stacked it is. All right. Mox is in it. That's rad. Mox and Takeshita. I'm into that.
Continental Classic, the leader of the Death Riders,
I am into that.
In 2023, Moxley was nearly flawless.
So there's a story to be told where Mox is a runner-up. If they do the semifinals thing, Mox is a runner-up. He's the runner-up, and so is Pac. Like we could book this so that Pac and Mox actually have to fight each other. Just keep that in mind. That we'd have to work it out, see how that's possible, but it's not impossible. Oh boy. Look, for all of you who wanted the Death Riders to start falling apart, this will probably be the tournament. This is probably what's going to happen, right?
This year's entire field, having competed, as we mentioned, in each of the first two turnings. This will be an interesting matchup, and Claudio must face his fellow Death Rider, Jon Moxley.
This is likely where everything's going to start falling apart. All right, Orange Cassidy.
Joining the conglomerations of Jason Civilian Roderick Strong and making his first appearance at the Continental Classic, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy.
I love how they're not using Where Is My Mind or Jane because it's YouTube. they'll get claimed in a second. It'll just get claimed like that.
The Continental Championship home to the conglomeration.
All right. Interesting. Okay, all right.
Also entering his very first Continental Classic, former international champion Roderick
I would assume that this is the spot that Kyle O'Reilly was supposed to take, right?
O'Reilly in the conglomeration in the fight against the Death Riders. He'll have a chance to get his hands on two of those Death Riders in the Blue League field.
I would assume that he's the replacement here, but it's a good replacement. Hell yeah, let's go! Great fucking yes! Mascara Dorada 2.0. All right. Now we're good. All right. Juicy. I'm into it.
Fans, the 2025 Continental Classic,
Okay.
the best wrestlers in the world. And I'm more excited than ever to be a part of it. Don't miss your chance to be part of it.
Oh, we're glad you're a part of it again this year, Tony. Well, look. Are we done, Tony? Is this it? Can you display? Can someone can you put up the field so that I could press pause, and that'd be great to just have him up on field here.
Coming to Nashville, tickets available at AEWTIX.com. From Nashville to around the world, let's take a look at the other cities for this year's Continental Classic. Wednesday, December.
Yeah, it's they're gonna have a hell of a schedule. There's all sorts of stuff being moved around.
Malaysia will be live as part of GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio.
All right.
We will be live in Atlanta, Georgia for Winter is Coming from the Gateway Center.
All right, this is good stuff. I like this. Okay.
It's Collision. The next week will come to you live
Yeah, Dorada Mox, Dorada Claudio.
for Dynamite and Collision.
Let's not sleep on Dorada Orange Cassidy either.
Wraps up at Dynamite on 34th Street.
So the inclusion of Mascara Dorada makes me happy because one of the things that I've been pushing was to have people from the outside coming in to participate in the C2 to help raise the profile of the Continental Classic. You know, Tony Khan puts it over as the greatest tournament in professional wrestling and whatnot. But you're kind of like, yeah, but if you open it up, it'll make it feel more prestigious. It'll make it feel bigger and whatnot. So I'm really glad that we got Mascara Dorada in here. I'm a big fan, and I would assume he's one of the guys who's benefiting from from one of these dual contracts that we kept that we kept hearing about. All right, so this is good. Okay. Off the top of my head, personally, I'm much more into the Gold League. I think the Gold League is insane. Let's recall who's in the Gold League. Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, Pac, and Darby Allin. That's Folks, that is insane. That is such a stacked block. That's crazy. I am very much into that. That between the two, I feel this one has the most potential for for great matches. Like this one really has the potential for having all of the great matches of the tournament. Not to say that the Blue League is full of slouches. Konosuke Takeshita, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Mascara Dorada. It's a great field of fighters. It's just on a different vibe, I guess. But look, you've got Okada, you've got Fletcher, you've got Pac, you've got Speedball all on one side, which are all versatile, high level, high working pro wrestlers. And on the other side, well, Takeshita is on that level. Mox is great, at the same time, and so is Claudio. Orange can be on and off. Roderick Strong, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Roddy really take all the space he needed, right? So I'm excited to see how far he's going to go on that front. And then Mascara Dorada, who is going to be like he's the odd man out here because he's a pure luchador and he's going to be wrestling with a couple of guys. Well, Mox isn't exactly known for his grand lucha styles, his grand lucha stylings. So, but I mean, Mascara Dorada and Konosuke Takeshita, have we seen Dorada and Claudio? Because Claudio really works well with the probably last year, I would say, at the very least last year in the Grand Prix. Because Claudio works really well with these guys. Like he works really, really well with these guys. This is so cool. Like this is very, very cool. Like I think there's reason to be hype here. But the Gold League, look, the Gold League I think is the superior league between the two. I think all around we're going to have some really good matches, but the Gold League has all the potential to have just like the most excellent matches of the tournament right here. I mean, just, Pac and Kyle Fletcher is going to be absolutely brutal. Like, not brutal in a sense bad. It's going to be like, they're going to brutalize each other. Pac and Okada. Or like Pac and Okada were sort of teetering on dream match territory, right? Let's not outright call it a dream match, but we're kind of, it's kind of like a match where it's like, hey, we never thought this kind of shit would be possible. There's a lot of really good stuff. You guys and gals in Non-Binary Pals seem all excited for it. No ops in the C2, which probably means that they have other plans. That would be my guess. They probably have other plans here. I think it's really hard to open up the CC with other promotions. They have to stay in the States for well over a month. Or be able to just fly back whenever needed on Friday nights, for instance, like Mascara Dorada. But yes, I agree. But then again, like it wouldn't be difficult to because there's stretches and tours that guys are just not required, and they can come spend the month here. But then again, like New Japan needs a lot of its top. If we're talking New Japan, it needs a lot of its guys all throughout December because it's the final build to Wrestle Kingdom, and they probably don't want some of their guys getting hurt, especially if they're involved in matches on Wrestle Kingdom. So, yeah. Roderick versus Takeshita fucking moves me. That'll be hard hitting. That's going to be tremendous. I don't see any bad matches either. I don't see any night like being. I don't see any combinations here where you go. At the very least, they're intriguing, right? Dorada versus Soup is, absolutely. It's going to be tremendous. Roddy Orange are the pin eaters. I think Dorada is going to be eating some pins. I think Mascara Dorada is going to be a pin eater here as well. He's going to have these great matches, but he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be a factor. I like Blue League is really going to be between Mox, Claudio, and Takeshita, with the three others rounding out the bottom, I guess. Because Takeshita at the very least is moving forward, right? I think Ishii was going to take the Dorada spot. I think Ishii is hurt right now, which is fine. I think. I mean, it would have been 3 conglomeration guys in the tournament. I'm very happy with. I'm very happy with Dorada being in this. Very excited about that. Knight and Bailey will eat some pins too. And Darby. I think Darby as well. I think it's going to be it's going to be a fun time. Like there's really potential for some very exciting matches here. And I'd probably have to break down the whole thing and look at some math here, but because I'm wondering, can we get to, let's say Okada and Pac and Takeshita and Mox, moving into the finals. And then have Pac and Mox fight each other, as well as Okada and Takeshita. But then that would mean that the winner of Pac Mox would face the winner of Okada Takeshita, and I think that's not as compelling. I don't think it's as compelling as having Okada and Takeshita fight in the finals. Because then it'd have to be, let's say, Mox versus Okada, which would rock, quite frankly, and then Pac versus Takeshita, which would rock, quite frankly. And then everyone moves into, and then those two guys move into the finals, and then Takeshita wins. But I'd have to break it down. Like I'd have to do the math here to figure it out. CMLL is pretty much a slow month in December, and probably Commander will fill in any obligations Dorada was going to have in CMLL. But then again, like, keep one thing in mind. AEW doesn't run on Friday nights. So, yeah, it doesn't run on Friday. So Dorada can jump in a flight and go back to Arena Mexico and be back the next day. Like, especially, the schedule is all wibbly wobbly. There's going to be Collision is going to be on a Thursday. So he can be done with Collision and jump on a flight and fly back to Arena Mexico for the Friday show, and then even stay the weekend if he wants to do. If they need him on the Saturday show and they're on the Sunday show, I think it's entirely like Dorada doesn't have to be cloistered in the U.S. is my point. Excuse me. Give me Higuchi, Mao, Ueno in the CC. I don't want the New Japan guys. Mao would get over with the AEW crowd. Mao would really get over with the AEW crowd. O'Reilly injured for real? Yeah, apparently. Apparently it was not a work. I'm glad they decided to not put the TNT champion in the Continental Classic this year. Yes, that is an excellent move. Because I think that ended up harming Dan Garcia last year more than anything. I mean, I love these fields. These are very, very good fields. And if in the environment where now we're just focused on, like, this is sports-based presentation, right? Where there's no outside interference, there's no nonsense, there's no gimmickry or weapons and all of that. It's just like straight up pro wrestling. There are some choice matches that can happen here, and some real great potential for some finals as well. And for those of you who did listen to the who did listen to my Full Gear review, which, may I remind you, is available right now in early access for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So join today if you want to listen to it right now. I put over Mox again and his match, after his great, excellent match with Kyle O'Reilly at Full Gear. And I finished putting him over, saying, again, admonishing everyone who earlier this year were saying, Mox is finished, he's through, he's washed, send him back to WWE, he's done, And I continue to admonish these people for their short-sightedness and their AEW anxiety, saying that Mox has been nothing but a fucking workhorse. He's had an excellent 2025. And like I said, he's going to have he had this incredible match with Kyle O'Reilly, bled buckets, went full crazy in this match again. And he's going to be back on Wednesday, back on Dynamite, continuing wrestling every fucking week. And he proves me wrong, gets himself into the Continental Classic. No, he proves me right. No, he doesn't prove me wrong. He proves me right. Gets himself included in the Continental Classic. So once again, Jon Moxley just continuing to have this fabulous year. Just an incredible 2025. And who would have thought with the way it started, but this guy turned it all around. It's incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. I can't put John, and I know the focus this year as far as AEW MVPs are going to go, right? Wrestlers of the year. We're going to be talking about Bandito. We're going to be talking about Konosuke Takeshita. But I'll be goddamn if there isn't a solid, legitimate case for Jon Moxley in 2025 AEW. This guy has been absolutely phenomenal in everything he has been involved in. Once we got past the Adam Copeland feud, once we were in the clear of that, once he started landing on spiked bats, okay, once that started happening, it's like it reawakened the old Mox, and here we are. Back with another excellent showing by Jon Moxley. And now he's going to be in the tournament. This guy's insane. This guy's a maniac, is what he is. Lots of good stuff. Mox has been waiting for that vacation ever since Punk got suspended that first time. He's been promised a couple of vacations, I think, since then. The goal of the C2 is to finish Mox Death Riders and Okada Takeshita. I adhere to that. Can absolutely go down that path. My pitch to Tony Khan, as he's a big tradition guy, AEW should run Korakuen Hall during Wrestle Kingdom week. Yes, that'd be just a nice little. Exactly. Like have a little AEW show in Korakuen. You don't have to sell out a huge building. Just go into Korakuen and have your guys and gals and work there and everyone have a good time. Sure. Why not? This is a solid tournament. This is a solid tournament. I am very, very excited. I'm very, very excited for I'm very, very excited for the Gold League. I mean that's going to be that they're again, not saying that the Blue League stinks, but the Gold League is just on another little level. Just on another little there's a little more oomph to it. That's very exciting. Well, look, this is all going to start off in 2 nights See, this is what I wish. See, this is why I wish AEW would drop these names a week ahead of time, right? Because God, we could have so much fun over the next, if this was a whole week or 2 weeks of us just like speculating and putting things together and scenarios and whatnot. Look how jacked everyone is right now, right? And I'm sure it's the same thing on social media. People are hopping and bouncing and they're dropping all their predictions. We could have this for a full fucking week or 2 weeks. I know some of you are listening. Why don't you do it? Just do it. Just give us the fields a little ahead of time. And when I say a little ahead of time, not 2 days before, like a week. 2 weeks would be ideal. I'd prefer a month, but if you can't do that, a couple of weeks before, wouldn't that be great? And I don't care if there's substitutions or whatnot. It's par for the course. It's a tournament. It doesn't bother me. I know some of you are listening right now. Tell your boss. Tell him. It's more fun for content creators like myself. Look, it's fun for fans. For people who are into it, they get excited. And then what happens is that you, AEW, take control of the cycle, of the news cycle for whatever period, because everyone's talking about it. It's showing up on social media. People are sending their predictions. They're starting up pools, they're doing pick'ems and shit like that. It's a golden opportunity for some free publicity, AEW. And I know you know this. You cannot not know this. Tell your boss. It's a great feel. Look, I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited for the tournament. I think Mascara Dorada is a nice add on top of that. Just a nice little addition that came out of nowhere, unexpected, and it's good. And it's good because he's great, because he's absolutely fantastic, and he's going to add some color to this, right? Just a guy from the outside just coming in to compete, and that adds to the prestige of the tournament. It's good. There's some really sick matches in here. It's my favorite time of the year in AEW because it kind of encapsulates what AEW should be and what it, to a degree, what it used to be as well. Where it would focus on the in-ring a lot more. You didn't have to rely on too many things, too much skullduggery and nonsense. It was just like, it was all about the wrestling. It was just straight up wrestling, guys going at it. Like, this is, I say it every year, but the Continental Classic could be AEW all the time. Look. All right. Last year's tournament was pretty good, but I think I had preferred the first year. I'm excited for this year. I think this one truly has the potential to be the best C2 so far. It really does. So I'm excited. So there you go. That's where we're at right now. In regards to the Continental Classique, la classique des continents is how we'd say it in French, I guess. C2, and it's funny because C2 in French sounds like c'est tout, which means that's all. And look, that's all for the stream today. What a coincidence! Look, hey. Thanks to everyone who showed up tonight. Lots of new faces, lots of new viewers. We got some really, got some great numbers, at least for my end of the spectrum. That was tremendous. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and come back. We stream a couple of nights per week, and there's the podcast and reviews and all sorts of stuff happening on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for showing up tonight. So speaking of the podcast, will be available in 2 days, Wednesday, which will include the full gear review. If you want to get it in early access, then become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show right now. Hit the join button, get early access to all this stuff. So that's it. So Wednesday, Mr. Warren Hayes Show podcast. Thursday, the AEW Dynamite review, plus a stream later on in the evening. We'll be able to talk about our first night of action of the G1 of the C2. So, all right, I'm feeling it. We're into it. Let's go. I'm into it. Let's make it happen. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Per usual, go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. I'll see you next time.